Hello. Right, let's see. Oh, microphone's working. Right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Coding Squad's Day 4. We'll just give it a few minutes for everyone to join. If you're new or you're returning, if you wouldn't mind just popping a message in the chat, just introducing yourself, just so I can see how many people we've got. Hello. Okay, we got Sebastian, we got Gail, we got Emmanuel. We're gonna wait till 5 past just to let you guys know before we'll get started with anything. But yeah, cool. Hello there, Erdem. Are any of you GCSE students or A-level students? Okay, so we got a few GCSE students. Okay, cool, cool. Those of you who are GCSE students, if you wouldn't mind telling me what you're studying, I'm hoping one of them is computer science or IT or something similar. But yeah, what kind of GCSEs are you doing? Okay, Adam says computer science. The DIS expert is saying psychology. I've heard that one's pretty difficult, so good luck. Dilly FN saying computer science as well. Well, you've come to the right place. We're doing a lot of stuff in computer science, so good stuff, good stuff. Just gonna wait 3 more minutes and then we will get started. Sorry I couldn't join this week. That's absolutely fine. Don't worry. There's plenty of opportunities to catch up. We always do a kind of review at the start of the session just to talk about what we did last time. But yeah, don't worry. And also it's fully recorded online, so you'll have plenty of opportunity to make sure you're on track with everything. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. Is anyone new here? Anyone here who hasn't been here for the past few weeks? What is it? I'm not sure what you're asking me, Aisha. You're new. Okay, oh, we've got quite a few new people. Oh wow. Okay, so I will introduce what this is then. Basically, what this is it is a GCSE computer science tutorial overview. So we're covering a lot of Python stuff that would come up within your computer science GCSE. Over the past 3 weeks, we've covered Python inputs, Python outputs, if statements, integer mathematics, all that kind of stuff. So if you are interested in programming, interested in Python, or taking computer science for GCSE, then this is a great place to start. And also to make it a bit fun, I like to do kind of games and stuff at the end, so like activities that you could do Python with. So if you're interested in technology, coding, programming, or GCSE, then this is the perfect place. I didn't realize we had so many new people. Wow. Okay, that is 5 past, so I am gonna get started. First of all, Can everyone see the presentation up on the screen? Type yes in the chat if you can. Delia asks how long is each session? Each session is an hour long. Okay, Mr. Headshot saying yes, Dilly saying yes. All right, yep, I'm gonna assume that you guys can see the screen. Cool. So, welcome back to My Tutor Coding Squad's Day 4. So, what we are covering today... Oh, I've realised that my head is in the way. There we go. So, we're going to do a quick recap of last time being Day 3. And then we're going to carry on with our theme from the last 2 sessions, which was sequence, selection, and iteration, which are the 3 most important programming blocks in computer science GCSE. Then we're going to be looking at the Turtle library. The Turtle library is an inbuilt library in Python that is a lot of fun, allows you to draw really creative pictures of art, basically. And then we're going to be looking at for loops and also while loops if we have time. And our activity today is going to be using both for loops and the Turtle library to make something really, really cool. So that is what we're going to be doing today. Just to give a recap for those of you who weren't here for Day 3, what we did is we looked at if statements and we looked at if, elif, else statements. So these statements allow a user to have selection within their program if they want to do something or otherwise or else they don't want to do something. And we use these if statements to create our own adventure game. Those of you who weren't here for the last few sessions, all of these sessions are up on YouTube. You can go and watch them and yeah, they should be pretty self-explanatory. So, without further ado, on to Day 4. So, just to reiterate what we've been doing through the past few sessions, we've been looking at the 3 programming constructs / building blocks. So the 3 most important constructs in computer science GCSE are sequence. This is the order in which your computer program instructions occur. So we did this in the first few sessions, where if you want to output a variable to the user, you must have to take the input first. There are a few other ways of doing this, but that's generally what sequence is. Selection is what we covered in Day 3, and this determines which path your program will take when running. So these are things like if statements. If you're using Python 3.10, this could also be switch cases. And then finally, the one we're covering today, iteration. So this is the repeated execution of your program. And these are things like for loops and while loops. And we'll see why we want to do repeated execution of certain elements as we move on. So let's go to the Turtle library. So those of you who are joining us, does everyone have Python either on their computers installed or in a web browser that they can do this in? I like to use idle because it's the easiest way for me to do it, but as long as you have a way of being able to use Python, it should probably work. I don't know what that is, Monika. Python IDE for beginners. It should work. Some of these ones may not have the Python Turtle library installed, so we'll have a look. Those of you who haven't had these sessions before, the first session covers how to download Python onto your computer and also how to set up this on your computer, which is the idle shell. So when you download Python first on your computer, you'll get this thing called idle. I'll quickly show you how to, once you've installed Python on your computer, where to find it. So if you go to Windows, and then you click Python 3.9, and then you click idle, that brings up this shell here. Imagine this is like a virtual computer where you can run all your programs in, and then we can use that virtual computer and create files to then run stuff in Python. Those of you who have been here for the past few sessions, this will be a bit annoying because you've already seen this 1,000 times before, but that's essentially what that is. So once you have Python up, the idle shell, and you've got a new file, I want you to save that file in your computer, save it somewhere where you know, Don't save it here. Save it in your documents or your desktop or somewhere where you can find it. I've got a folder already for this. And then I'm going to call it day 4 because we're on day 4. And when you've got that up, let me know. Where can we download Python? So if you search on whatever web browser you have and you search for Python 3.9, it will be the first link that comes up. That's where you can do it. If you need a bit more of a detailed explanation, if you want to go to the day 1 of this stream, it will give you a very detailed explanation of how to download everything. But if you've got a Windows computer or a Linux computer or even a Mac computer, it's very easy to download. You just follow the link, follow the instructions, easy peasy, Bob's your uncle. Is it Python or Python with Turtle you're using? You're using It should, if you download Python, Python already has Turtle installed. So you wouldn't need to select Python with Turtle. Those of you who are having troubles as well, you could also use the website EduBlocks as well. I wonder if I can send you a link to that. If you're having trouble today, for the rest of the sessions, you'll need to use actual Python, but if you're in a pinch and you want to use something quickly for Python, I recommend this website here, EduBlocks. It allows you to use Python in there, and it also has all the Turtle library stuff that works. So that should be fine. Is Python 3.11 good? Yes. On Replit. Okay. I do not know enough about Replit. I assume that if it gives you options for Python with Turtle, you're going to want the one with Python with Turtle, but just for the safe side, I recommend just using idle. So I am going to move on and start to do some Python programming. If there are any questions do pop up, please let me know, but we will just start with the Python Turtle library. So, the Python Turtle library is just a way of being able to draw on a computer. And the way we do it is we first have to set up our turtle that will do the drawing and a screen to do the drawing on. So I will show you how to do that. The first thing you have to do is you have to import the turtle library. So what you do is you type from turtle import star, and that imports everything from the turtle library onto your computer. And if I press run, nothing's going to happen because we haven't done any proper programming yet, but we all know that that runs with no errors. The next part is you want to set up your turtle and your screen. So to set up your turtle, you're going to write the name of your turtle, aka turtle, equals capital T, turtle, open brackets, close brackets. And you're going to do the same for your screen, equals screen, of brackets, close brackets, and I run that program there. And once I run that, a screen will, oh, well, it popped up on my other screen, but a screen pops up that says Python Turtle Graphics, and it allows you, this is where you're going to be drawing all your wonderful turtle programs. When you guys are happy for me to move on, or if you got any questions, yeah, use the chat. I'll give you guys a few minutes just to get all of that sorted. Just to reiterate what we've done so far, we've said from turtle import star, and we've said turtle equals turtle and screen equals screen. This one here creates this wee turtle at the bottom here, and this one here creates the screen for the turtle to run. When you guys are happy for me to move on, just let me know. Hi there, Michael. Oh, wait, no, that's not your name. Mikhail. I remember you from last time. Okay. Are you guys happy for me to move on? Okay, Monique says yep. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'll carry on. If you guys need me to slow down or stop for any questions, let me know. So, once we have our turtle and our screen set up, we want to actually start to add some stuff to our screen. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to change the background color of our screen. So you're going to write screen. Oh, I got a message there. I don't really know what to do. Can you recap? What we're doing right now is we're using idle and we're using the turtle library in there. So if you want to set up an idle shell, click File, New File, copy all of the code that we've currently written, and you'll be able to get a Python library up. Did I miss anything as I came in late? Not. You didn't miss too much. What we're doing is we're using idle just like we have for the past 3 weeks now, and you're setting up a new program and you're copying up this code here for the turtle library, which is a library that allows you to draw pretty graphics. So yeah, what was I saying? Yes. So now we're going to set up the screen of our turtle. So we're going to do some screen setup. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to change the background color. So you're going to type in screen.bg color. You're going to spell it the American way. Open brackets, close brackets, and then inside those brackets you can type in a color. So if I want to change it to black, for example, I could type in black in all lowercase. And if I run that program, it's now completely black. If I change it to red, for example, it's going to pop up on my other screen, isn't it? There we go. The background now changes to red. There's a few colors that it will work with. It won't work with every single color, but yeah, that's how you change the background color. Let's have a look at those questions. When I open Python, there is no options at the top. What might be happening is you might be opening up this, which is a command line. You do not want to open up the command line. What you want to do is when you go to Python, this is Dilly by the way, 3.9, you click idle, I-D-L-E, open that up, and that will give you your little options. Then you can click File, New File, and you can set it up just the same way we've done here. Alrighty. I can't remember how many different colors you can change the screen. Let's try blue. Okay, blue works. If it doesn't work, I believe it was just going to change to like... I think it will just change to black. No, it just changes to white if it can't work it out. But yeah, that's how you change the color of the background. When you guys are happy for me to move on, let me know. How do you get into Turtle Python graphics? Okay, so to get this little pop-up window up. I'm assuming that you're in idle. What you're going to do is once you created your program, like this, you've said from turtle import and you've got all of this up, you're going to press run, then run module. No, you're not press run module. And that pops up this turtle graphics up here. If you're using something other than idle, I cannot see what you're using and therefore I may not be able to provide answers. But if you're using idle, that is how you do it. Okay, Monika says it's okay to move on. So I will move on. The next part is once you've got the background color of the screen sorted out, you can also change the pen color. This is like the color of your turtle, if you like. So the way that you do that is you're going to type turtle dot pen color. Make sure that you spell color in the American way. And you can do the same thing here. You can change the color to whatever you like. I'm going to change it to yellow. And as you can see, when I run the program, run module, press OK, my little arrow at the corner here is now yellow. You can also change the shape of the turtle. So currently the turtle is an arrow shape, but it'd be quite nice if we had it a turtle shape. So you can write turtle dot shape, and in the brackets you can write turtle. I believe it's with the lowercase t, but it might be with an uppercase t. And now it's a wee turtle, which is, I think, quite adorable. Can you zoom in, please, to the code? Oh, we had this sort of problem last time, and I was not able to zoom into the code. Here we go. That's better. That should be enough. Is that all good for you now there, Monika? Yeah, thanks. Okay, sweet. Alrighty, so I'll give you guys a few minutes to get your turtle all sorted out. If you want to experiment with some colors as well. And then when you're happy for me to move on, let me know. Okay, so now we've got our wee turtle set up and we've chosen the color and the background color. We can now move the turtle, which will make it draw. So imagine with this little turtle here, wherever it moves, it kind of leaves a trail, and that trail can form your art. So there are 4 commands that we can use to move the turtle, and I'll show you those now. So the commands are turtle dot forward, turtle dot backwards, turtle dot right, and turtle dot left. Now these top two here, forward and backward, they will actually make it move. So if I tell it to move forward by 10 and I run that code, you can't even see it move. Let me move it forward by 100. There you go. It is, well, you didn't get to see it because my computer's acting up, but it's now moved from the center point here 100 pixels to forwards, or wherever the tail is facing. And I can make it do the same thing. I can make it go backward. I'll make it do a really long one, like, let's say 800. Run that program. Hopefully I can move it in time. Oh, no, now it's gone off to infinity because it's too long, but there we go. It moved forward and backward. So what those do. This will make it move forward in time, and this will make it move backwards. However, if you want it to move with a slight angle, for example, that's where left and right come in. So, turtle dot right will change the angle in degrees. So if I wanted to turn, let's say, I want it to move forward, then turn 60 degrees to the right. Then I want it to move backwards. And move to the left by 45 degrees. I can run that program. As you can see, it started to kind of make a triangle. It went forward, rotated, forward, and now it's rotated again. So these two here are for rotation. And these here are for translation, if you like. Rotation and translation, using the big words today. So there you go. That is how you get your turtle moving. Does that all make sense? Does anyone have any questions at this point? I imagine what you're doing is you're trying out the program, and I've talked for about 5 minutes now, so I will let you guys try it out. Try it out with different values if you like. So I wonder if there's a way to keep this here, but I don't think there is. Try it out with big values and see what happens. Just try it out, see what you can do. I'm going to quickly try and switch the screens over. But yeah, if you have any questions on what we've done so far, let me know. Hello, hello. That might be a bit better. If I change the screen capture. There we go. Now hopefully if I run this program, you actually see it pop up. There we go. Hey presto. go back to the codes. Yep, codes are right on the screen there. So we've got 2 translation and 2 rotations. Generally, when you're doing it, normally you're just going to use either one of these for rotation and one of these for translation. But yeah, that is basically how it works. You can also change the color midway through the program if you like. So I can change it to draw yellow for the next part if I run the program. So you see, change yellow. Have a little go. If you have any questions, let me know. But yeah, that is how you get started with the Turtle library. Oh, and when you're happy for me to move on as well, just let me know. Oh. Okay, I'm seeing happy to move on. That is what I will do. So, now that we've actually been able to do stuff with our little turtle program, we want to learn a bit more about how to use for loops to make it better. So the first thing that I'm going to do with my turtle program is I'm going to make a triangle. Okay, so oh, hang on, my computer's playing up. There we go. So I'm going to use the program to make a triangle. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write turtle.forward, and then I want to decide the length of my triangle. I'm going to make it 60, and then I'm going to turn it to the right. Now I know that there are 360 degrees on the outside of any shape, so I want it to rotate by 120. This is where maths comes into it. Then I want it to move again by the same number forward. I might change that to 70 actually, so it doesn't confuse people. 70, and I'm going to copy this code, copy and paste forward, and then I want it to move forward, and then I want it to move right again. So I'll give you guys a few seconds to copy that code, but essentially what it does is it should, and it stopped making a triangle. Why did it stop making a triangle? Oh, it's because I spelled turtle wrong. Huh. That means I've wrote turtle. And if I run that program, it makes a turtle. Or it makes a triangle. So I'll give you guys a few seconds to copy out that, making yourself a wee triangle. If I change it, I might change it so it's all left instead. That way it goes upwards. If I run that program. There we go. It's made a wee triangle. So, if you wouldn't mind all copying that down, and when you've got that, let me know and I will move on. Okay, people are not yet ready to move on. That is absolutely fine. I'm happy to just stick here and wait. Might try out some colours as well. Purple. There is a list somewhere online about how many different colors you can use, but I do not remember the list. What you're probably noticing is this is taking quite a long time to type everything out. And we're going to look at a solution how you don't have to type things out all the time. Someone's asked, what's the difference between turtle and TK? Oh, interesting. What is TK? Oh, do you mean Tinker? So the difference between Turtle and Tinker is Turtle is a very limited graphics user interface and Tinker is a quite broad GUI interface. So Turtle can only be really used for these very small kind of image drawing stuff, but Tinker can be used to make actual GUIs or graphical user interfaces. So that's the difference there. Turtle is very limited. Tinker is less limited. I think you can build all kinds of things with Tinker. Hopefully that answered your question. Yeah, no problem. Okay. If you are ready to move on, just let me know in the chat. But I'm guessing you all are typing away or copying and pasting away, which is the quicker way of doing it. Is this Python? Yes, this is Python. Welcome to Python. Okay, I'll give it one more minute and then I'll move on because I do want to get through all of the funky stuff I've done today. If you haven't typed all of these parts out, don't worry. We're going to look at a way that you don't have to type all of these things out every single time. So, yeah, don't worry. What does it mean if it says the name black is not defined? So what might be happening, Josephine, is if you're doing background color, for example, if you don't have these wee speech marks over it, that might be what's giving you the error. Let's have a look. Yep, that's what's going wrong. So you need the speech marks over your background color here. It is a string. That's exact. I think Ishan's saying that in the chat there. Yeah, it's a string, so that's why. Someone's asked, is black lowercase? Yes, it is lowercase. So all these ones where we're using words, that's a string, so you need to make sure it's in the speech marks. Someone's asked, why don't you use class here? As in classes? Just because I want to keep it simple for now. You can if you wanted to, but it's better just to keep things simple than build up. I am going to move on. Don't worry if you haven't typed all of these things down. There's plenty of opportunity to catch up. It says this for the turtle part, top part. Turtle equals. That will be because you're using something that doesn't have the turtle library. Now, turtle library, if in idle, is already pre-installed, so it should already work for you there. If you're using something that isn't idle, it may not be pre-installed and you may need to look into another way of installing it. But I am going to move on for this part. So, to make a triangle, we require 6 lines of code. If we wanted to make something like a square, we'd have to use 8 lines of code, and if we're using a pentagon, we'd have to use 10 lines of code, and etc, etc, etc. It takes a lot of time just to type all that out. So we're going to look for a quicker way of doing it using something called a for loop. So I'm going to get rid of these codes right now, and we're going to make a triangle using a for loop. So the way that you do this is to start your for loop, you will write for I in range 3, colon. I will explain this for now, but that is what you want to type. Someone typed in the chat, try turtle equals turtle dot turtle. Like this. I don't know why I got banned there, but like that. That might work for you, Michael. But yeah, so those of you, we are iterating. We're going to make a triangle using a for loop. So when you've got this for loop up, let me know. Monika's got it up. Awesome job. Now, just like with last week when we do the if statements, you've got to make sure that your for loop is properly iterated. Not iterated, indented. That's the word I'm looking for. See how when I start on this new line here after the colon, it's indented slightly? That you'll need to have the same thing for loops here. And that makes sure that your code is inside the for loop. What I can do now is I can type turtle dot forward and then the length of my triangle. So I think I said 70 last time. I'll do 80 this time. Why not? And then I'll do turtle dot right 120. And if I run this code, it makes a triangle again. And you're probably wondering, well, why is that happening? Well, what this part does is it repeats all the code in here 3 times because I've told it to go from 0 to up to 3. If I was to change that to be 4, now you won't be able to see this properly because it will just go back on itself, but it's going to run 4 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what a for loop does. It repeats every part of code that's inside the for loop for as many times as you tell it to. So if we're wanting to do it for a triangle, so we've said 3. If I made it do 2, for example, it wouldn't finish the triangle because it would repeat the code twice. 1, 2. So give that a go. Make sure that makes sense for you. If you've got any questions on the for loops or how they work or what they are, then feel free to use the chat below. How would you do a circle? I will get to that later, but actually I could probably just tell you now. We may not have time for it. To do a circle, you use turtle.circle, which is, I'll put it here, Could you quickly go back to the top? Yep, no worries. So to answer the person who asked how do you make a circle, you do turtle.circle, and then you type in how big you want your circle to be, and if you run that, that will produce a circle for you. There you go, circle, and now it's producing my triangle. Someone's asked me if I could go back to the top. This is the highest the code currently is. This line here is the first line, if I put the line numbers on there. So yeah, going back to what we're currently covering, for loops. Does anyone have any questions on them, or are we good to move on? Someone's typed in an alternate way of doing it. I equals 5 while I is not 5, I iterating. That is a perfect way of doing it. Maybe not for a triangle because you need to use the number 3, but yeah, that would work. That is a different type of, I believe that might be more Java related. But anyway, I am gonna move on. So that's how you make a triangle, but oh, someone's asked me not to move on just yet. I'll give you 1 more minute there, Michael. Sorry, Michael. And then I'll move on. Those of you who are waiting, see if you can use the same code, but instead of making a triangle, you make a square, and see if you can figure out how you can make other shapes like squares or pentagons, etc. Because that's what we're going to do next. Okay, I'm going to move on. Don't worry, you can rewatch the session to catch up. So we want to now use this code to build squares or pentagons. So to change it, if I wanted to build a square, the first thing I'd have to do is I want to loop it 4 times to make the 4 different vertices. So I'm going to change that number to 4. The length can be exactly the same, but this time I want to change my degrees from 120 to 90 because we want to go 90, 90, 90, 90. And if I run that program, now it's going to build a square. If I wanted to build a pentagon, for example, well, I would just do the same thing. I would change it to be in the range of 5. I'm going to keep this exactly the same, and I want to do, I can't do the maths in my head, 300 divided by 5 is 72. I wanted to change 72 degrees. And what you might start to notice here is I could do this for any regular shape. So I could do it for a hexagon, septagon, octagon, nonagon, decagon. The world's your oyster. The only difference here is every time this number increases, so every time we want to add many sides, we're going to do, this calculation will be 360 degrees divided by the amount of sides. So if I wanted to do an octagon, and that was 8 sides, I'd want to do, and I can't do 360 degrees divided by 8, which is 45. I want to change by 45 degrees each time. And actually, if I run that program, that's going to create me an octagon. So I've managed to create a whole shape using a for loop, which only takes 2 lines of code. If I was to do that without the for loop, well, that would be 16 lines of code, which is a lot, and it's a lot better to use a for loop because it means that we don't have to repeat ourselves. We can keep it nice and small and simple. So that's why we use a for loop, keeping everything simple and making sure we don't have to repeat ourselves. So, no repetitions. So we can now actually use this little bit of code here. Could you make the font bigger? Yes, I can. I don't know how bigger I can make it without losing everything, but I'll give it a go. Options, configure. We're on size 20 now. Let's do 22. Is that better? Sorry, not the I. Ooh. I don't know which text you're asking about then. Huh. I meant C. Oh, no, that was just me doing calculations. That was just me working out what 360 degrees divided by 8 is. You don't need that part. Yeah. So what we're going to do now is using everything we've learnt now, we're going to create a program which can draw any shape we want. We're going to input the amount of sides we want for that shape and it will draw it for us using this here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save what I've done so far and we're going to move on to a new program. So I'm going to create File, New File. I'm going to get rid of this idle for now and I'm going to call this file, I'm going to save it in my computer and I'm going to save it as turtle loops. Now this is an activity you can do in your own time if you don't finish, but I will show you how to do it. So it's going to be draw any shape. And this will allow us to use for loops to draw any shape we want. So we're going to first of all want to find out how many sides we want to draw. So we're going to create a variable called sides and we're going to input from the user how many sides we'd like draw. Just to show you that works, if I say 8, oh, that can input. Now we want this to be an integer, so we're going to write int over everything here. So it will save everything as an integer. I'm going to make the font a bit smaller as well. I realise I'm going a bit fast, so if you need me to slow down afterwards, let me know. So after we've inputted how many sides we want, the next stage is we're going to now set up our turtle like we did before. So to set up the turtle like we did, we first want to write the name of our turtle, aka turtle, equals capital T for turtle, and we want to set up our screen for our turtle as well. That needs to be a capital. And if we want to, we can also set the background color, but that is not necessary. It will still work without. So I'll say I want the color to be black, and I want to change the color of turtle, so I'm going to write turtle.color equals yellow. Just to let you know, black and yellow are both lowercase. Now I'm going to actually start to use the for loop. So in this for loop, what we're going to do is we're going to say for I in range sides. So I want you to repeat for whatever number that they type in for sides. So if they type in 6 for a hexagon, I want you to repeat 6 times. If they type in 5 for a pentagon, I want you to repeat 5 times, etc., etc. Colon, space, enter button. See how there's an indentation there? Then you're going to write turtle.forward. Choose the length that you want your turtle to move, so I'm going to say 90. And then here you're going to write turtle.right. And we're going to do a bit of maths in here. We're going to do 360 degrees divided by the amount of sides that they type. And that is the finished code. So if you were to run that code, if you were to run that code, it then asks the user how many sides you want to draw. Let's say I want to draw 7. Hang on. Name turtle is not. Oops. I forgot one part. From turtle import star. I forgot to do that. That might be where some people are getting errors as well, because I forgot, but you need to also import the turtle library. So I'll just put that as a note there. Import turtle library. So that is why I got that error there. So that's the finished code. So if I say OK, how many sides? I want you to draw 7 sides. And then it pops up with this. little 7-side shape. If I then run the program again, and let's say I want it to draw 12 sides, well, you can't see it because it kind of went off the screen there, but it draws 12 sides. Is there a bracket there at the end of draw? I don't see where you mean. I'm also going to make the font a wee bit smaller so you can see every part there. But yeah, that, and of course you can make it do so many other fun and crazy things with a turtle library. We've only covered a very small fraction of how many things you can build with a turtle library. I've built some very, very cool, interesting graphics that change colors, and the turtle can speed up, all kinds of crazy stuff. But that was just a quick intro into the turtle library. We've got about 4 minutes left, so if anyone has got any questions on what we've covered today, or Python and programming in general, now would be the perfect time to ask. But yeah. Also, one quick thing I should mention is that for this session we have a opinion piece. So you have a what are they called? Words. A form that you can fill out, which basically you can type up what you thought about this session and any improvements you'd like to make. So yep, oh, we've got some questions here. So what is the benefit of using Turtle, like if we can use in web programming? So the benefits of using Turtle is mainly a training tool. I do it because it's a bit of fun, you know. It's quite cute to have a little turtle moving on the screen. There's not a lot of real-world application, like with Tinker, for example, but it's a good way of being able to understand how for loops work, so that's why I did it. What are you coding on? I am using idle to code. Idle is if you download Python onto your computer, it will already be included on the Python download, so you can just use that. If there's any other ones you want to use, like VS Code or PyCharm or any other things, I cannot guarantee that they will work for all these sessions, but feel free to try. How many lessons are there altogether? There are 11 sessions altogether. Well, these first few sessions are going to be strictly on Python coding, and then as we go on, we are going to look at video game coding. So we're going to be using Python to make video games. So there's still a lot of learning within Python, but if you like video games, then I recommend you stick around for that. Are we going to learn any other languages? We are going to stick with Python for these sessions, just because it is the easiest way of doing it. How do you delete a line? If you don't like the line that you've deleted, you don't like it, you can just delete it like that. If you're not able to delete it, or press backspace, you're doing it on the shell. If you're not able to delete it, that's because you're doing it here. You need to be doing it here in a separate program. So if you're doing it on the shell, you just press File, New File, excuse me, and then you can create a new file. So, that is unfortunately all we have time for today. I hope you've enjoyed this session, and hopefully I will be able to see you all in the next session. If you've got any other questions before we've got to go, feel free to ask them now. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Why can't I download Python on my PC? Unfortunately, I cannot see your PC. What I recommend you do is you go to the Python website. It's in the link of this stream, and you should be able to go there. Make sure you choose the right one. If you're dealing with a Windows computer, choose the Windows one. If you're dealing with a Mac computer, choose the Mac one, and that should all work for you. Yeah, you guys are feel free to hop off this session now, and I hope you enjoyed it. See you next week.